JT is in Houston. He said, does college football need a designated location for the national championship game? I'm thinking this because baseball has Omaha, softball has Oklahoma City. JT, this is a really good question, my friend. A lot of people think yes. A lot of people think the Rose Bowl should be the annual location for college football's national championship game. I don't have a problem with that. I've never made it a point to plant my flag in the ground and die on that hill. My focus is not on the location. Believe it or not, for a guy who does not like neutral site locations, for a national championship game, I think several of these places are okay. Like, I love New Orleans, man. I love the Superdome. I love when we go there for playoff games or for national title games. I'd love for the playoff games to be on campus, but if I can't have that, I'd love to, be there for whatever the postseason throws at us. I think Atlanta does a good job. I think Miami does a really good job. But it's not about that, okay? It's not about the venue per se. I did not like it at all when we played it in Santa Clara. I did not like it in SoFi Stadium, even though that is the most incredible venue I think I've ever seen. It is not college football. It does not feel like college football. Totally corporatized. And I hate that because that's how the Super Bowl feels. And all due respect to what the NFL has going on, I'm one of those few who remain in the minority who would love college football to feel uniquely like college football. Oh, by the way, it wouldn't hurt to play the game on a Saturday. Revenue be damned. But anyway, let's go back to the question at hand. You got the College World Series in Omaha. You got the Softball World Series there in Oklahoma City. And both of those places totally own those events. It is wonderful. It's destination. It's appointment viewing. It's a destination bucket list trip for a lot of people who love those sports. Should college football have that? I think you would get a pretty consensus opinion that if college football were to have one fixed location for the national title game, more people than not would say Rose Bowl. But does a majority of college football fans want that? Should we have the college football national championship at just one location? If we did have it, I'd vote for the Rose Bowl, so I'm in agreement with most of you. But the reason I'd vote for the Rose Bowl is only partly due to what you love it for. You guys love the weather, and I do too. You love the scenery. You love the San Gabriel Mountains there when they're playing the Rose Bowl game, and it's later in the afternoon on the East Coast, and you're getting the sunset. It's already dark where you are in Georgia or New York or Virginia, but you're watching the sunset out there on the West Coast, and you're under like 7 layers of clothing and blankets trying to stay warm, and you got folks shirtless out here in the crowd, and it's just a world. If you grew up like me in the rural South, you can't even imagine it. But that exists. And sometimes your teams get to go out there and play. If that were a national championship game, would that be great? Sure it would. But that's not why I love the Rose Bowl. I love the Rose Bowl because the Rose Bowl takes itself more seriously than any other college football venue and any other college football committee that hosts any other college football game. That's why the Rose Bowl should have the national championship. If the folks who run the Rose Bowl were put in charge of displaying the tradition and pageantry that should be synonymous with our championship game, it would not feel corporatized. I guarantee you, if you let the Rose Bowl committee run the actual national championship festivities, that's how college football should feel. So I love the San Gabriels, and I love the sunset, and I love all of the history of that stadium. I would love the way the presentation would feel because that committee out there gets it. That's why I didn't have a problem, still don't, with them digging in their heels and being such a menace in getting this new expanded playoff figured out. What's their crime? Standing for what they believe in? Refusing to just take a blowtorch to tradition for the sake of television networks? Like, I salute them. I used to curse them up and down because I was fooled into being a clapping seal that, did the bidding of the folks in suits worth more than my whole wardrobe. Then I all of a sudden had the fog lift from my eyes and I saw the light and I said, hold on a second. I'm sitting here claiming to love tradition. These folks are out here fighting for tradition. They're pretty much the only entity left standing in the way, and they haven't folded. I respect that about them. They get what this sport is about. Isn't it ironic, by the way, that this is a game that a lot of people in the South take as serious as anyone, and a lot of people in the Midwest, they take it as seriously as anyone, and you would look at folks on the West Coast, and you would claim, oh, Pac-12's soft, oh, they're not as serious about it. Their game, the Rose Bowl, takes it as seriously as anyone, and they actually stood up more, and I want you to hear me in the South, stood up more fervently against change for the sake of change in the wrong direction than a lot of Southern entities did. Now, what do you think about that? Not something I saw coming. So I would love, if we had it in a fixed location, I'd love for it to be the Rose Bowl. But I'd love for it to be the Rose Bowl because of the seriousness that the Rose Bowl committee places on college football, as opposed to just appeasing several other masters. And really, if the audience likes it, okay. If they don't, whatever. It's not really their game. It is our game. It absolutely is our game.